Like the friend zone thing is a good one though. Then we'll go back to that, but I really like that one. Just because I figured out how to get out of it and stay out of it. And I figured out how to get in it if that's where I want to be.
Let's see. That's why I definitely wanted you here for the friend zone one.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely the majority of the time a younger man problem. Older men get into it. Let's not be fooled. But majority of the time, a lot of the younger men have that problem, specifically late teens, early 20s, and they don't know how to navigate their way out of it.
Yeah.
And then there's also the flip side of like women who get friend zoned, telling them, you have the much easier path to get out than we do.
Sure.
I mean,
Yep. So, but cheating, cheating. Cheating is the one. And the reason why cheating is the one is because everybody at some point thinks about cheating, whether they admit it or not. Everybody at least has that thought. As honest as they are, like, oh, I never thought about that. Yes, you have.
yes, you lying to yourself if you say you haven't.
That's exactly it. And that's why cheating has always been a discussion. It's like, well, how do you know cheating when you... Men cheat for one simple reason, and it's validation.
Now, that's an interesting one. I had never thought about that.
They cheat for validation. I still got it, or I can get it when I want it, and there's nothing she can do about it. Even the habitual cheater is still seeking validation that they're not getting internally, so they're searching for it externally.
Man, I had never thought about it like that. But you're not wrong.
But when you think about just the guys that I know who cheat, and even the girls I know who are cheating, that's like, well, I'm just getting my lick back. Yeah, you're getting your lick back just so you know, well, you didn't get one over on me, so I'm validating cheating anyway, so I'm going to just go ahead and show you that I can get what you can get. Which means that there's still something inside that says, I just got to know that I still got it if I ever didn't go that route. Which it's crazy when you think about that in a relationship. Like you're in a relationship with someone, but you still got to seek that validation that this isn't the end all be all. So you really have to ask yourself at the end of it, which you already know the answer, am I with the right person? Because if the need to cheat is still there, you're just not with the right person. Period. Because when you do get with the right person, that need fades. It goes away. It's not a need anymore. It's a more of an acknowledgement. Like, could I do it? Yeah, but you could also rob a bank, but you're not going to do it because there's no validity in robbing a bank. It doesn't validate anything inside of you to rob a bank. So even though you know it's there, you're not going to do it.
Just to put this out there, a couple episodes back, when we discussed this with the rest of the guys, I said the exact same things. He had no idea I said that. Outside of the news perspective, because that one caught me by surprise with the validation. But it's absolutely true. But I mean, I don't get it. I would never do it. But just like you were just saying, the majority of cheating and not cheating comes down to you making a choice. You always have a choice. It's not, oh, well, they did. No, you have a choice. You don't have to react that way. You can just leave. But you've chosen that you want to get that lick back and stay and then have that one up. But, man, that is validation.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So you have to look at, it's like people who are always seeking, like, I already told it, like, look, hey, I'm a cheater. So if you get with me, just know I'm not gonna be honest. I'm still gonna be running around.
As a cop out.
Yeah, it's like telling somebody, would you introduce yourself to somebody and said, hey, by the way, I'm a liar. So I mean, if you're with me, just know I'm gonna lie to you. No, because lying is notoriously negative. But cheating for a lot of people, especially now, is supposed to be a phase. Oh, well, I did that with her just because, or I would never do that on you. Which, if you haven't fixed what you're trying to validate, then you're going to cheat eventually. Because I can tell you that from being in a relationship over 21 years, if that person that you're with doesn't know who they are and they can't validate who they are to you, then you're always going to question, like, am I really in this for the right reasons. And the reason why I say if that person can't validate who they are to you, because a lot of people just naturally assume that they're 10 toes down and nobody can ever shake them. They always have that question of, am I with the right person? You follow?
Yeah, I agree. And I got to give a shout out to another YouTuber named That Boy Will. Right now, the way it is, like I said, you have a choice when you cheat.
Oh.
But you always have to remember that there is somebody out there who will tempt your person.
Yep.
And they have to choose to come back. And like you said, just because you put it up there on Front Street, this is the way I am. No, that's a choice you make. Nobody is the way they are without making a choice first.
Yep. And that whole saying of once a cheater, always a cheater, it's a lie too. Because when someone does find the right person, and I know some of my boys personally, they found the right person, and they're like, when I met her, I don't know what it was. I just didn't have a reason to cheat. Like, I didn't really want to. Like, I was kind of done with it. Like, I just went through that phase. It's like, you didn't really, it wasn't when you met her. It was just, you got to the point to where you realized within yourself, like, they all kind of the same one way or the other. But she brings me a wholeness and a peace that the other ones didn't. So I'm going to stop fooling with the other ones because I like the peace that she brings, which is why I said in the last comment, if that person can't validate who they are to you and really display it, like any sales deal, they have to sell themselves, and not only sell, but deliver on the sale from the initial intro, first dates, meeting people online, not getting catfished. Then once that happens and you validate it, and you got two people who validate each other for who they are, and then they come together to validate the relationship, that's when the cheating will stop. Unless they just introduce themselves as a liar, and then that's what you got too. But 9 times out of 10, and this is something the old lady told me, she said 9 times out of 10, you know exactly who you with within about a month or so. You know, within about a month, you know who you with. And the reason why is because in a month, usually that's like the beginning stages, hot and heavy. I got to hang with them every single day. Especially not saying that you got to have sex with them, because that just confuses everything. And that's a completely different topic, men and women. Sex confuses the relationship. But it is also another form of validation because, well, this person just can't keep their hands on me, so I must be great. True. Or they just lack self-control. And anytime they get aroused, they just got to put their hands on somebody.
Let's reel this back in for a second. we dove straight in off the deep end right there. Let's reel this back in for a second. Let's start at base level. What would your definition of cheating be?
My personal definition of cheating is for sure physical. If you decide that you are going to give your body to somebody else and then come back to the person that you quote unquote love or are committed to, then that's cheating. Number one. Number two, which really should be number one, in my eyes, God doesn't recognize, and I try not to be too holy on everybody, but God doesn't recognize anything except for marriage. Everything else is friendship or courtship of some type. But even when you fill out the job application, it says single or married. When you're going to do your taxes, it says single. You can file together, you can file separate, or you can file single. You can't file dating. You can't file engaged. You can't. There's just, so when it comes to cheating, if you're honest with your partner, hey, this is what's up. It's sad. It's cold to say that, but that's how a lot of men are, because we're more logical than emotional. If he tells you what's up, women, you know what's up, and you choose to stay, he didn't cheat on you. And you can say, I didn't think it was going to go to that extent. If he told you what was up, I'm going so-and-so, then you knew, even if you're in denial. So for me, cheating, one is physical. You can have emotional cheating, but emotional cheating is harder to navigate in the aspect of, once it's an emotional cheat, even if it's not physical, you have to get that person who is being more emotional with another person to admit to themselves that they're with the wrong person. Because one thing you can't count is how many emotional partners have you cheated with. Whereas you can count physically how many people you cheated with. So that's a hard one to navigate. So I really don't see it fully as that, because some people just find people that are easier to talk to. And instead of admitting that to the person that they're with, they'll just continue to give all the information and tea to the person that they feel the most comfortable talking to. But you have to be mature enough to understand, I'm really not comfortable talking to this person that I'm actually with. I should probably break this off.
Yeah, but then that comes with having to deal with and admit that you were wrong. A lot of people don't want to admit they're wrong when they choose wrong.
Oh yeah, accountability is, it's always going to be a topic. And the more and more we get into social media, the more accountability seems to go out the window. Because for some, cheating is liking somebody else's page, even though there's nothing else there other than a like, or looking up an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. It's like, why would you do that? Because people are nosy. They may not necessarily want to cheat on that person, but people are nosy as hell, and I'm going to go look them up, see what they're doing. Why? Why is that a curiosity? Because I'm nosy. That's just the honest opinion for a lot of people. So I'm just nosy. I just want to see what they're doing.
Well, if they're on your mind that much, why don't you just go be with them?
Yeah, and that's a very immature way to think about it. It's like, okay, it's on my mind all the time to go and pull somebody's dress up. You can't do that. There has to be some restraint.
Wait a minute. I hope that was for the example.
Yeah, of course it's for the example. It's just hypothetical. It's an extreme hypothetical.
Yeah, because it was extreme.
Yeah, it's like you're not just going to go up to somebody and rip their shirt off and be like, you're not going to do that.
I mean, you shouldn't do that because some of y'all's crazy out there. Y'all will do that. And some of y'all will accept that behavior is normal and it's not normal. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but in extreme hypotheticals, yes. There's things that you think about or cross your mind, and it's just like, you can't do that stuff. So, but speaking of 100% factual, is it possible to have an emotional cheater? Yes, it is possible. And that's when women, they're usually the ones who figure it out. Mm-hmm. Because women are emotional creatures. Whether you like me saying that or not, it's true. Men are logical and can be very non-emotional, and that's just by design. Women are empathetic for the nurturing aspect of carrying children. That's by design. And the women are usually the ones who feel emotionally cheated on more so than a man will. Because men will just assume they're going to do the man thing, just like, she just ain't feel like talking. When women are consistently always like talk to me, tell me, how are you feeling? I noticed your vibe's been a little different. It's been a little off. So I think it's more of emotional cheating for women than it is men. I will say that.
Which is funny. That point in particular, when it comes to the whole talking thing, we actually covered in, I can't remember the name of the episode, but it would be 3 or 4 episodes back, where a lot of times when guys come home, they don't always want to deal with the talking right up front as soon as they get there. Or if their girl needs to talk and they just don't want to hear it, they will go find a reason to go do something else. And I was saying that at some point you might not want to hear it, but sometimes it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Because when you don't do that, that's when you open up the door to the quote-unquote emotional cheating. Because somebody, if you're not going to be there to listen, they're going to find somebody who will. Whether that be one of their friends, a girlfriend, or another guy. They will find somebody who's willing to listen to them. And then that goes back to it being a choice. You chose not to listen to them. They're choosing to find somebody who will. And then eventually, if the emotional state gets to be that great, they will choose to move on to the physical.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't say anything further than that because even when people ask for advice, you still have the choice at the end of the day. And nobody can force you to do anything. Like, you don't slip and fall into somebody and having relations and all that good stuff.
And that's a real conversation, like, when it comes to the emotional side of your relationship and men being more available and women thinking that, oh, he's just being soft or he always want to tell me how I feel. I don't care. Just, you're a man, do what you do. Like, ladies, if you're going to be with a guy for any amount of time, you have got to understand that he is human and that if you want to make it work, you're going to have to hear him out. Because not hearing him out, who does he talk to? If you're the one that he wants to be with. If you're shutting him down and telling him that he's soft or weak,
or he's sassy,
which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's like there was never such a thing as sassy. But women want, that's what I'm saying. A lot of women, they want it all. They want a man who's rock solid, gangster hard, just nobody can affect me and nobody can phase me, but at the same time be soft and emotional when you're with me at the house. Well, in that balance, you're going to have those moments where he's going to want to talk and you're going to need to listen. And he's saying, hey, babe, you're making me feel a certain way when you do X, Y, and Z. You can't come back at him stop being sensitive. Because if he's not sensitive, there's your window for him to go out and emotionally and or physically cheat with someone, because instead of talking to you, I'm gonna just go take it out on the next one, and now I feel validated because women don't care anyway. So it can get dicey when you do that. And same thing when it comes to men. If your lady wants to talk to you, you gotta say, look, I don't want to hear her mouth right now. Okay, but then come back to it, babe. Not right now. Let me just cool off, or let me just get my mind wrapped around what we need to discuss. But always come back to what needs to be discussed, because it's not going to go away. It's just not.
It's like leaving an open window and expecting somebody not to come in and rob your house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good example. It is. You didn't leave the door open, but you left the window open, and the neighbor's always listening.
But with that being said, why do you think, especially in today's day and age, people come up with their own definitions of what cheating is? Just like you brought up the whole, some people don't like you liking other people or following people on social media. Some people consider certain things like emotional cheating. Some people are delusional enough just to think you looking at a person and treating them with proper kindness and proper respect is actually cheating.
Yeah.
And everyone having their own definitions is bringing a lot of delusion to the whole dating situation sometimes. And I just want to get your perspective on why you think everyone has to have their own individual definition of it instead of broad spectrum. So it's like, okay, we actually have a solid guideline. So now, yes, you're still going to be emotional, but now you know how to navigate it a little bit better, since you're not trying to figure out every single thing by yourself in real time.
The difference between now versus the past, well, A, is that there's just too much information out there and not enough maturity. But to answer the question, you kind of answered it already, is the reason why cheating is so gray now is because literally everything else now is gray. You can call, instead of people understanding that gravity is gravity, it's not going to change. The sun is the sun, it's not going to change. You're going to have a winner. You're going to have a loser. Everybody doesn't get a trophy. Everybody wants their own definition for what it means to be cheating. And then when you get people who don't have maturity, don't have a solid foundation for who they are and where they're going, and even in their life or in their day-to-day, because some people are really just fly by the seat of their pants. Yeah. How are you going to get that person who doesn't know where they're going to be in the next 30 days to understand what it means to be in a stable relationship and what it means to actually function? So when you tell kids that you can be a squirrel today, it's not something that you can have a guideline by. You can't go out in nature and walk into a peacock, paint it black, and say, look, that's a crow. Everybody's going to say, no, that's still a peacock. Like, there has to be a guideline. And nowadays, the guidelines have been so blurred by the media, by everybody accepting everything. Like, we have to stop accepting everything. Because when you accept everything, then there are no guidelines for anything.
Well, I won't say that the media has accepted anything. What I'll actually say on part of it is quite the opposite, which is just like you said, a lot of it gets to be gray when an individual doesn't know themselves. And I'm going to speak for men specifically, because I will never and have never been a woman. A lot of the times, the men who do know themselves, what they want, what they will or won't accept, that's when they get thrown into the category of being toxic, and when toxic masculinity gets thrown around, or even being sassy, because a lot of the times what I'm seeing a lot online is the majority of the men being considered to be sassy outside of men who actually, speak like women, act like women, especially in responses to things women
Which
say.
used to be known as metrosexual, but we've tossed that term out the window. Now they're sassy instead of metrosexual.
Well, it's kind of more PC, but a lot of the times, those men are considered sassy or whatever or toxic because they hold their values true to themselves and they know what they will and won't accept.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, those men are the men who, unfortunately, more often than not, are alone because everybody is here for, like you said, accept everything, accept me as I am. And it's like, no, I don't have to accept anything. Especially in the case of like, you're married with children.
Yeah.
The rest of us are all single, minus Al, who has children, and we're all in our 30s. We're proverbial unicorns at this point because single black men, no children, got a good job, got his
no
own
criminal
stuff,
records.
no criminal records.
It's like none of y'all.
We don't have to accept anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment we say, nah, I'm not accepting it, you're good, you'll find somebody, but I don't have to be the person to be with you like you want me to, then you're considered sassy or you're considered toxic. What's your perspective on that?
But that's just the immaturity in the women that you all are dealing with too, because any woman that knows what standards are and knows how you're going to get from point A to point B knows that there's a process in this, and there's things that you can't accept. The ones who are trying to poke your ego by calling you sassy are doing that because it's a type of reverse psychology. Like, how are you going to tell me that I'm not good enough because I got this and this and this and I can do this, but you just better than me because you got whatever you got going on and I don't fit your plan. Please, you blind. But am I though? Is he blind? If you don't fit his plan, then I'm gonna just say how it's written in the Bible. It literally is written: a man who finds a wife, not the other way around. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing and has favor with the Lord. It's written in the Bible, whether you want to argue it or not. It's written that way for a reason, because women are emotional. Women will operate on emotion. There's a lot of things that happen on emotion that aren't the right way of doing the things. Now, that being said, if you use logic the entire time, and only logic, you're going to do the right thing, and it's not always going to feel right to everybody involved. And that's the way a mature man is supposed to operate, which I can tell you now. There's not a whole lot of mature men out there. There's a lot of females out there who are having to compensate for the lack of guidance that the young guys have now. Whereas you don't see a lot of younger guys looking up to the elders like it used to be. And there's something that's always said in the church: it takes a village to raise a child. Well, there's not many villages the way it used to be.
No,
families aren't as tight the way it used to be. The churches definitely aren't as tight. And that's not just the Christian church. That's, it doesn't matter if you look at the Muslims or, religion in general. It's not as tight. But you also have to look at religion also has those standards that are being great.
I agree.
So,
however, the only caveat I will add to what you said, yes, there aren't a lot of examples in leadership for young men, which is something I have scheduled out for a completely different episode.
mm-hmm.
But that is also on the other side. There aren't a lot of examples, positive examples of what young women should be learning right now either. Because I was even watching an episode of something on YouTube earlier, and it was a woman speaking to women, telling them a lot of the times your problems you were talking yourself into, especially when it comes to a man, because sometimes all he needs for you is to listen to what he said and get it done for that specific instance. It's case by case,
right?
Not every single scenario, but a lot of times, if he explicitly tells you this is what I need, he's not asking you to read between the lines. He's asking you to do what he needed.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't always want to have the back chat and have to explain to the fullest T everything he needs from you.
Right. Sometimes
you just have to trust that you've picked a good man and actually follow what he says. And when it benefits you, understand that his leadership was valuable. And on the other side, I've also seen, and you've told me a number of times, as a man, you shouldn't always just be so headstrong in your relationship where your leadership is dictatorship.
Absolutely.
And your lady should be a valued counsel.
Yeah, she always, and that's one thing me and my wife talk about. And my wife didn't understand that for many, many years. She's like, ready to just do what you do. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Marriage was never designed to be, you just do what you do and I'll follow. The queen was always the king's counsel. Always. That's why it's always been such a huge thing in every religion that a king have a queen. And they would consider kings without a queen to be unbalanced. It's like, okay, you need to find who your queen is, because women have the side that men don't have, which is the empathy, that emotion that you gotta have to make just, right and just decisions for the people that you are with or around, or even just you two together. Because if it was up to men, we just do whatever was right, and there's, for lack of better words, damn who got in the way of it. It was the right thing to do. Whereas women are going to be like, I understand it's right, but there's a better way to do it. Most women are supposed to, anyway. But
they'll bring a bit of nuance to the situation.
Yeah, there you go. It was in there. I couldn't.
It's all good. Words are my thing.
But no, it's so much what that goes into marriage that people don't understand. If people would just read vows for what they are, you'd get the foundation of what a relationship should be, and just grow from there. And you figure out, is this what I want? For richer, for poor, till death do us part, and sickness and health. Like, if you actually read the vows and what those vows are, it's going to tell you what you're looking at. You're not trying, and you find that person who matches what you're willing to commit to. And if they don't, find somebody else. But don't try to make anybody or hope that they're going to change. People only change when they want to. They're not going to change because they're with you specifically.
Which, real quick callback to a different episode, I said exactly that, but it was pointed out to me, because we were doing a Am I the A-hole post, where this woman wanted to get a lot of plastic surgery done, and her husband was against it, but he didn't feel like it was his place to say anything, so he didn't. And when she got the work done, he then had to tell her he wasn't attracted to her anymore, and compared her looks to the blue alien off The Fifth Element.
Yikes.
And
that's rough.
And my point in that matter was, well, you took those vows. If you had something to say and didn't like this and didn't want this to happen, you should have said it up front. You should never have had the attitude of, it's not my place to say anything because it's her body. But Al's point was, well, you just brought up the vows. I don't think anywhere in the vows of for better or worse did it involve her getting plastic surgery and changing how she looks, because he didn't sign up for that.
True.
What's your perspective on that one?
That's true. My perspective on that, and this is something I'm sure somebody's going to coin it after I say it, but this is a true fact. Ladies, I hope you hear this one loud and clear. Men like our women stock and our cars aftermarket. That's simple.
And you weren't even there for the NBA aftermarket.
It's that simple. I want a stock woman. I want what the factory put out there. I need to know what I got. Like, what's the framework of this thing looking like? My car, I throw rims on it. I do this. I dress it up. But when I meet you, I need to know what the Lord created. Because all the surgeries and everything else, and then the kids come out different from what I got over here, now we got a problem. That's a whole nother discussion.
We talked about that lawsuit that happened over in Asia where the
that was a real lawsuit. Yeah. That was crazy. But I wasn't mad at dude either. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wasn't mad
at all.
Like, man, you done sold me a bill of goods, man. What's going on over here? Like, these kids got jacked up hairlines and everything else, and you over here like, wait, what you mean you had surgery? Yeah. Full disclosure on the aftermarket. Like, it looks great. Guys will look at it all day long on the internet. It looks great.
They'll look at it, they'll sleep,
and they won't buy it. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I'll rent that Ferrari. I'm not buying it. just not what I want. But you got the guys out there that like it. They want nothing more than to have something that's not official, not original. But that's the majority of guys, especially looking for a wife. They want to know that you real. It's a hair, and if you ain't got no hair, be proud and bald headed, man. We'll appreciate that. I know some beautiful bald headed women, as a matter of fact. But they rock it, and they'll tell you to this day. And you know, some of them are single, and dudes feel a certain kind of way because hair has always been tied to fertility. If you want to know where that comes from and where the weaves and everything else that's tied to fertility, it's old look for from a long time ago.
It's like certain forms of makeup also.
But it's no simpler than saying men like a woman that they know what she looks like. Like that's why a lot of guys are like, I want to see what you look like without your makeup on. Or when you have ladies who have, you know, a resting bitch face, and they want to be, and they walk by and they tell you to smile. They're not being rude, but you cute when you're mad. But what's your smile look like? And then you smile and it lights up, and for them that's like, oh, okay, bet.
See, I don't mind that part because that's also a beacon of like, not everybody can approach you, and you're not approachable in that regard. But I know if I approach you, you're gonna start being. Just saying, I'm okay with that. That's just me though. But I have to be okay with that because I know for a fact that I don't always look approachable either.
Yes. So, I am not a fan of the surgeries.
Not a fan of the aftermarket.
No. Okay. I've seen what it looks like at 84 years old and 74 years old because I've worked in a lot of high-line stores and businesses, and gravity don't stop for nobody. I'm going to just say that. It looks strange when you get up in age. It's temporary, but time affects us all. That's all I'm going to say. Just y'all keep living. See how these surgeries work out as people start getting older. It's going to be interesting.
All right. Let's get back into the lane because we kind of took a right turn there. How much do you think like the new social norms are affecting people and how they see relationships and their views of cheating?
Social norms in what aspect?
Like right now it's cool for everybody to have a roster.
That's weird. Why you want to have a roster? You building a team?
Well, a lot of people, they like having the variety and having the access of, well, if I put all my eggs in this basket and that basket falls, now I don't have no eggs. But if I put an egg in this basket, put an egg in that basket's getting me food, that basket's buying me purses, this one's taking me on trips, she's doing the sloppy for me, she's cooking home-cooked meals, she'd come over and clean the house and we can just chill. People are, effectively, these rosters are forming their ideal person, but they're using different people, which will ultimately fail for both sides that do that. But things like having a roster...
It'll create... The rosters create confusion in finding the right person.
Elaborate.
Because you won't ever find some type of balance in one person if you're used to having a roster. You're always going to be in the mind frame of, well, what you won't do, somebody else will. So you got to find out if you want to be married or in a long-term relationship, when you're going to get rid of the roster and be serious. It's no different than anything. If you're not committed to something, then you're always going to be all over the place. At some point, you got to clear the slate and say, this is the direction I'm going with my life, and this is what I'm committed to.
Like, comment, subscribe. But there's that. But then there's also, like, social media and things like that. Because just like we were talking about earlier with, like, women being considered overly masculine now and men being considered sassy, a lot of times when people see these quote-unquote tendencies of those personas, they'll think, oh, well, this person's starting to act like that, so let me go ahead and get the backup ready.
Oh, yeah, unresolved issues in your last relationship. That's all that is. You have unresolved trauma that you haven't dealt with, so now you compare everyone to the one traumatic situation that you had in your life when everybody's a little different. This is why the church is important, because it says, come as you are. Meet people as they are. If you're consistently not getting over your trauma, you're just literally stacking trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma and wondering why you're either A, being stuck with the same kind of people who act the same kind of way or treat you the same kind of way, which means in that trauma, you're acting a certain way which other people are reacting to. So they're like, oh, I've seen this before. And you're saying, well, I've seen this before. And now you're both bouncing off of that.
Giving each other confirmation bias.
Mm-hmm. And so you have to be mindful that if you're seeing the same habits from different people, accountability is something that's gone out the window, I think, almost completely. You got to be accountable to your actions and see how you play a part in your own life and your own. If you want people around you to change first. That's the only way that's going to work.
Now, new question. Do you think, especially in long-term relationships, does the amount of time those people have in ever play a factor if one side or both sides decide that they want to get something new?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's because you didn't spend enough time changing with the person you're with. You like the person they were, but you all didn't ever really find, and you see this in a lot of marriages where they met really young, they had kids, the kids grow up, they get older, and then they're sitting at the house together realizing like, I don't really like you. But when you were young, the sex was great. And that was what got you in. And then we had kids and we don't want the kids to be left alone. But I don't really like who you've become. But it's only because you never saw who they were over the years of growing. And that's why a lot of elders especially, and they told me and my wife this, you have to continue to not necessarily court each other, but date each other, spend that quality time where it's you and the kid. Like, don't lose yourself in the family, in the family so much that you lose yourself completely. Because then once the kids are gone or once your husband's out of town and stuff, it's like, then you're looking at yourself like, what do I like to do? I don't know. I always did what he did, or I always did what she did. I'm glad we had this conversation. The problem with a lot of the Western marriages now, is happy wife, happy life. That does not work. It doesn't work, gentlemen. Ladies, it doesn't work. Let me be the first to tell you, it does not. Happy wife, happy life will have you in a ditch. I'm just going to tell you that. Y'all take it for what you want, but happy life doesn't work for the reason that women are emotional. And a lot of people now have gotten into relationships and they forget that a working love is literally a working love. When you get married, it's not work like going to your 9 to 5, but it's work because you have to consistently dial yourself into this other person and be considerate to somebody that you said you love and you chose to come back to every day. Men are the emotional temperature of the house. Women are designed to amplify whatever emotion he brings. If he's ticked off and unbalanced and got a lot of trauma and he hadn't dealt with it, ladies, if your man is unbalanced and off kilter, you are not going to be able to fix him. You don't have, it's not there for it. He has to deal with that on his side. And same thing, men, if you're dealing with a lady who is overly emotional and you can't get any word in edgewise and my way or the highway, if she is that demanding and overbearing, again, happy life doesn't work. Marriage was never designed for the woman to be 100% head of the household. No different than it wasn't designed for a man to be 100% head of the household. But it was designed for man to be in communion with God, to have the non-emotional rationality to be able to lead the family, wife and children, in the direction that is most productive for the legacy of the family. And that's what we're missing right now. There's too many people think happy wife, happy life, and then when the wife ain't happy, everybody's all messed up because the husband's like, what do you want to eat for dinner? I don't know what she wants. Or you get the aspect of the husband's like, hey, look, man, you got to fix this, or she ain't going to be happy and we're all going to have to hear about it. That's a conversation of a toxic relationship that you can't say, hey, I'm going to talk to her, I'm going to talk to him, but she's not the head of the household. It just can't be that way. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, and that's fine. But if you look at your relationships that have lasted the longest, you will always find a woman that said, he is my husband, I follow him, but we do everything together.
You see that hand that just dropped? The credential is right there.
Oh yeah, I'm happily 16 years married, been with the same woman for 21. It has not been easy in the aspect of let's paint fingernails. No, it hadn't been that easy. But it's definitely been the most fulfilling, awesome journey that I would encourage anybody to go on if you can find the right person who is willing to grow together.
I just find it funny that you brought up the happy wife, happy life, because I've said it so many episodes that is a myth.
Oh,
and I'm pretty sure in the it might be the open relationship episode. Like I said, I've said it many a time. Like Khalid asked, bro, you don't believe in happy wife, happy life? Fuck no. What? No. I also say quite frequently, especially when it comes to the emotional side of women, and some dudes feel this way, one of the things that runs people off from marriages and long-term relationships, especially with the aspect of cheating looming over their head, is you can change your mind because the sky is gray today and don't want to be here no more, or decide that you want to go do something else, and why would I want to stick around for that?
Yeah.
That's just
happy wife, happy life will have us all in the trenches all the time. Because you need, especially, and that's something that I had to learn being married, is that, and reading the Bible, the one fatal flaw of Adam in the beginning was being complacent. Adam was just there, and it even says in that verse where Adam and Eve are in the garden and she's talking to the snake and she goes over to the tree and Adam's like, don't do that. It says in there, if you go back and read, and he was there, meaning Adam was there the whole time watching, like, I told her not to do it, but hey, she want to do it anyway, I'm gonna let her do it, because happy wife, happy life, it's in there. It's nuts when you find it, but it's there. And then when God returns back to Adam and he says, where are you? And then he asks Adam, what did I tell you?
Notice, Eve messed up. Her fault. He had to take accountability for it. Just gonna throw that in there.
So men, if you get married, understand, it is always your fault. Period.
Not to say,
say period.
Not to say that you're always wrong.
Not to say you're always wrong,
but
it is always your fault. It is your job as a man, if you're going to be a man, to lead your wife and love your wife and show your children how to love one another together. But first you have to deal with the traumas that you've gone through on the husband's side so that you can lead calmly and peacefully, and on mom's side. And that whole, well, I didn't have a mom and I didn't have a dad. We get and we do what we want exactly. You know what it means to be a good person. Should you choose to be a good person, that is a choice. So when we get in our emotions and you want to yell and say all kind of crazy stuff to your wife, and then your kids pick up on it, you made that immature decision to do that. You have to check yourself. Accountability, once again, is something that will keep you in line. Somebody's got to hold everyone accountable, or something has to hold you accountable, because no one's strong enough to do one thing by themselves. So no happy wife, happy life. You need to be each other's accountability partner. She should be your councilman, meaning she pulls you and is like, hey, you're doing a little much right now. I think we need to dial it down. I'm with you, I follow you, but this is it. Ladies, if you see he's gonna put you in a ditch, husband, you're gonna put me in a ditch. Here's why I say this. Because men are logical, most. And when they see the facts, okay, the facts are there. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll still let you. Yeah, I will let you give it to all men, because not everyone in a man's body is a man. There's a lot of boys who walk around in men's bodies.
Very true.
That's
why very lot of old boys out there. A whole lot of old boys.
That's why I will let you say that all men are logical.
And that's why I speak to men, for sure. For sure.
That's also to say that it may seem like I pick a side and typically go for the mid side. No. I am a fair. Everybody can get it. I'm an equal opportunist. Just to say that, like, a lot of you dudes don't know what the hell you're doing either. Just say that.
Yeah, and it's okay to say that. Like, I need help. That's one thing that men don't do. I need help. I need to figure this out. But that's where you got to look at your. It was somebody. One of my mentors said that to me. Who are your top 5? And how? And I mean, when you say top 5, who are the top 5 people around you? And how are the top 5 around you going with the direction that you want to go with life?
That's great, because I didn't even have to ask the question, because literally the next question I had for you was, do our friends influence us either way on that?
Absolutely. 100%. It's very hard to be in a committed relationship when all your boys are not committed. It is. It's just because their goals aren't what your goals are. So I have had to, for a time period, step away from my friends and be like, yeah, that's my wife. This is what we got to do. I'll get with y'all. I'll hang. And when they do the single thing, hey, I'm just not doing the single thing. Just come and have a few drinks, this, that, and the other. Yeah, this my boy over here. You know, if they can't respect your relationship and who you're with, they are not your friends. It's that simple.
And unfortunately, I have to always double down on that statement, especially when it comes to ladies. Because there is more than just my opinion out there. A lot of people know, especially when a woman finds a good man, she don't want a man like him. She wants him. Yeah. And there's some slimy dudes out there who will do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Now, the only difference is with dudes, if I find out you slimy like that, we got to go outside.
Yeah. Which is another controversial aspect. It may not be on there, but when you come into the whole bros before hoes mode.
Never understood it. We talked about that. None of us agreed with it.
That is the dumbest guideline to go by. Now, you got to be loyal to your bros. Okay. I'm loyal to my bros as far as we going to take care of each other. But if I break up with a chick and he sees that he wants to get with her, I'm done with the situation. If I've dealt with that situation, or I should have just stayed with her and worked it out. So you have to ask yourself, before you go through the bros before hoes, am I done with this situation? And your boys should respect that. Oh, you done with her? Cool. I really like X, Y, and Z about it, because people are different. Like, everybody's a little bit different. Now, of course, you don't be weird and start going, well, am I better than this than him? Am I better than that? That's just weird. If you're doing that to compare yourself to your boy, or if your boy is doing that to compare himself to you, then you got to really ask yourself, is that my friend? That I'm competing with him, with somebody he was with. That should be a new relationship between two adults to go the direction that it needs to go. So it was always weird to me when dudes was like, yeah, it's bros before hoes, because at the end of the day, your bros ain't gonna bring you a child. Your bros ain't gonna be fixing up your house. Your bros ain't gonna make your house a home. A lot of ladies like to say, what do? I make a house a home. Well, I give you part of that. You know, God's above all things. I'm just saying, if your house ain't a home without God in it, it ain't a home anyway. But it's don't live your dating life by that. Well, my homeboy dated her, and I'm not gonna date her because of that. Because she might be the right one for you. You don't know. But don't be weird and start getting intel on your boy, because then you got to consider, is that friend really your friend? Or, hey, why didn't it work out between y'all? Nix that. It doesn't matter. You can't change the past regardless.
I don't know about that last part, though. Why didn't it work out between y'all kind of could be a good question to ask, because that's your boy. You already got his side.
But if you're going forward in the relationship.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Getting her side, because at this point, now you were getting to know both personalities, and you can make your own informed decision on who was right and who was wrong, and how that would affect you moving forward. Mm-hmm. That's all I'll say on that end.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that for sure. For sure.
But on that side, I said it in the last time we talked about it. Yeah. If my boy wanted to date somebody I've dealt with, we just need to have a little quick conversation, move a little furniture, get all that animosity out, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then go for it.
Right, if you all are really boys, if you really tight like that, you're not gonna let anybody come between you anyway. Same thing. If she's really tight like that, she's gonna understand, okay, I was with him, I'm not with him anymore. And that's that. But a lot of times people just don't want to control themselves. They want to be like, well, you know how I am, and you don't have to be that way. You don't.
If you don't believe us, go watch Love Jones.
Yeah.
Nina knew what she was doing.
Yep. That's a very good example.
And Darius pulled it right up at that bus stop.
If you have not seen Love Jones, that is your homework this evening. Ladies, you will love the movie. Gentlemen, you will learn something in the movie. So go watch it.
Oh no! Don't go head over heels in that '90s love, because some of that stuff he did was it was a little strange. But I'm just saying, you know.
But it was a great movie, though. It was good.
But man, last question I have: do you think there will ever come a time where cheating will just end?
No. Because you're always going to have someone who's committed, and you're always going to have someone who feels like they're playing the game, and hence the cheater. And that's something you've heard me say before. Nobody can cheat on you unless you're a game. You can tell, hey, you lied to me and I'm out. But you don't get cheated on unless you're in the game. So you got to figure out, ladies and or gentlemen, are you the game? If not, when you find out somebody cheats, next, unplug it. Restart. Find somebody else.
Unplug.
It's like,
I'm resetting my PC.
Yeah, I'm gonna reset the PC. Oh, he cheated on me? Cool. This is not a game you playing with, baby. I got too much going on. I'll see you later. And then he's scratching his head like, dang, she kind of cut me off. Like, I was quick. Like, dang. Like, I told you I wasn't a game. I gotta go. It brings another level to it. But I don't think it's ever gonna go away. Because you're always gonna have someone who feels like they got cheated on one way or the other. And just because, and it's like asking, is immaturity going to go away? No. As long as people are growing up, you're going to have immature people.
Fair enough. That's all I have on this topic. You heard it here first. And like I said, if you don't believe me, he's got the credentials. 20 plus year relationship, been married for 16. I mean, like.
Yes, and we make it work. And just for those who are into astrology, I am a Gemini, my wife is a Scorpio. We're not supposed to work together the way that we do, according to that. Astrology is just something fun to look at. It is not 100% legit. No person is 100% anything that somebody else wrote in the book. Get to learn the person that you're with. So, if I know I don't get along with Pisces or Aries, I don't get along with Libras, you're literally cutting your dating field down. Find out who the person is in front of you. That's like saying I don't like somebody who wear Nike. Every time I meet somebody who wearing Nike, they got something going on. It's like, you can't live like that. It's like,
I'm glad I'm not a person who takes offense to that, because I'm both an Aries and currently wearing Nike. So
shots fired. Unintentionally.
That was like, okay.
But no. But seriously though, it's no poking fun at James, but it just so happened it came out in that example.
Yeah.
But seriously though, don't rely on astrology. It is fun to look at and to read about and all that stuff. And I'm not gonna knock what it is, because like I said, I know what I am in astrology, and I know what my wife is, and she's not 100% Scorpio, and I'm not 100% Gemini. And sometimes you can pick the moon phase and just scroll through it, and someday I'm acting like a Cancer or a Libra or something else. It just learn who you got in front of you, respect them. They should respect you. And if they don't waste time with them. Hire slowly, fire quickly. That is the best thing I can tell you about dating.
Not too quickly. If you fire quickly, be informed when you fire. Some of y'all be firing over the littlest stuff, and then you go, oh, well, that wasn't actually that big of a deal.
Oh, but that's why you hire slowly. You should have gotten to that point at some point.
It's 2024. They hiring on spot.
You gotta stop that. I get it.
Hiring.
I get it.
But yeah. We'll catch y'all next time. Like, comment, subscribe. His information will be on the ending screen and in the description below. This is good. We're definitely going to get the boys' perspectives on this for sure. Because I highly doubt that they will agree with most of your sentiments. Now, there's going to be a lot of commonalities, but you're going to be coming from the married side of things. We're going to get the single side of things with them. So, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch y'all next time.
Rader Kaizen, I'm out. You know, the whole deal. Yeah, but you know, I just never really thought of you like that. I was like, ah, okay. And then they didn't have the maturity then to explain what they were looking for or why they thought of that. Because I did ask then. I'm like, why can't I be more than friends? They're like, I just always looked at you like a brother. Like, kind of like, you know, a brother or a friend. Or like, you're always just, you know, the nice guy who would always help out. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. And that's when I realized, like, nice guys do finish last in a lot of aspects. Like, you can be nice, but to be nice and friendly is almost like a nail in the coffin.
No, you cannot be nice. You can be kind. Kindness can be taken for weakness. Being nice is what ends up making you lose the race. Do not be nice. Be kind.